Now, I said this on Thursday and I got in trouble for it, but I'll say it again. The Queensland Premier is an idiot, or more importantly, I should have said that the Queensland Premier thinks that you are an idiot. Well, as we showed you on Thursday of last week, they tried to introduce a law into Parliament. In fact, they actually did introduce a law into Parliament that would have seen me go to jail for 6 months if in the upcoming election I told you of a current or aspiring politician who had a corruption inquiry going on while they were simultaneously seeking re-election or election to the Parliament. Amazingly, under these laws, under these rules, they didn't apply to the politicians. It was only members of the media who would get a $6,000 fine or 6 months in jail if we told you what was actually taking place. I repeat, the Queensland Premier thinks you are an idiot, that you don't deserve to know, because of course it is all the cover of COVID. It's all about the borders. It's all about the virus. Well, this is, of course, a disgrace. The Attorney-General, by the way, stood up in the Parliament and said this in support of the legislation on Thursday.
The offences contained in this bill are designed to enhance the integrity of Queensland's electoral processes by ensuring that public debate in an election period is not hijacked by the publication of baseless allegations and complaints that are politically motivated and designed to do nothing more than inflict reputational damage on political opponents.
Now, AG, just because you read it quickly doesn't mean that people don't pay attention to what is being said, what law is being introduced. Well, the next day, on Friday, this was the Premier of Queensland trying to pretend that her government didn't introduce this law the night before.
Obviously, the government now has no intention of pursuing that, and we will not be pursuing that if we are successful at the next election as well. So it's off the table completely.
But the point is, it got on the table at all. The Premier thinks you are an idiot. The Premier thinks that you will forget what they tried to do. Now, they were able to successfully get away with fiddling about how the upcoming election will be funded, whereas I have told you before, under the Palaszczuk rules that have been put in place, political parties, maximum they can spend in any one seat, $149,000. Combined union spending is about $1.4 million per seat. Which side of politics do you think they'll be advocating for? Oh, that's right, the one of which they are constitutionally part of, that being the Labor Party. They decided that this piece of legislation was so urgent that in the final weeks of their government, in the lead up to an election, that this didn't just make it from the whiteboard, but it made it through the cabinet process. It was signed off by how many people? And it was only after we talked about it here on Thursday night, there was a huge uproar across regional Queensland because we are broadcast so far and so wide on Sky News on Win. I know this because nobody else on television was talking about it. The next day, it was pulled. The front page of the Courier Mail, well done to Chris Jones and his team, linking the upcoming 75th anniversary, as it was, for Saturday, with VJ Day, with the war on free speech that was happening the day before the 75th anniversary, hence why it was all pulled. The Queensland Premier thinks you are an idiot.